Quincy man accused of shooting and killing a 47-year-old woman last May appeared in court again today, this time with his own counsel.
And 19-year-old Victor Weems will be arraigned 1 week from today. But in the meantime, the family of Dana Lawton Marshall continues to mourn the loss.
And WGEM's Dylan Smith spoke to Lawton's family and friends about their grieving process, and he spoke to police about what they're doing to prevent incidents like this from happening in the future.
It was just like any other night, but a trip to the front porch ended in an emergency trip to the hospital. But it was all for naught. The damage had been done. Quincy police officials say this type of violence does not represent the Gem City. But as I found out, a shooting like this may have only been a matter of time. Tonight, I'm digging deeper into the dramatic increase in gun violence in Quincy.
She was just like a bright, shining star. You said one word.
It's impossible.
It's impossible because there isn't one word to describe her at all when I think of her.
Every single holiday, I mean, right when it hit midnight, boom, she would, text. That'd be the first message we received.
It's been almost 1 year. 1 year since Stephen Lawton Logston has received a text from his mom. And almost 1 year since Stephanie Dell got to see that bright, shining star, her best friend.
All I can remember is that big smile, like she didn't deserve any of this.
Me, my brother, and my sister, we just, everything stopped for us.
WGEM News is following breaking news.
Quincy police say one person was sent to the hospital after a late-night shots-fired incident.
On May 24th, Dana Lawton Marshall was at her friend Bill Dregge's house on Jefferson Street. Off camera, Dregge tells me they usually hung out in the backyard. That night, they decided to sit on the front porch to enjoy the breeze. Dregge had only known the 47-year-old a month. It was at that point when a bullet from a disturbance just down the street at 12th and Jefferson came flying and hit her.
I think that's the most heart-wrenching part of it is she was just ripped away.
We ran out and this lady was just shot. Somebody just drove by and just shot her.
Police believe that somebody is 19-year-old Victor Weems. After more than 7 months on the run, investigators learned the 19-year-old had returned to Quincy and he was arrested.
This was not just something where it was sitting idle. We received new information and then somebody is assigned.
And just yesterday, 2 more arrests for helping keep Weems hidden.
It is often said that justice delayed is justice denied. The family and friends of Miss Lawton have waited for this day far too long.
Weems is charged with first-degree murder, where the average penalty runs anywhere between 20 and 60 years in prison. Because a firearm was used, Judge Robert Adrian said during the 19-year-old's first court appearance that he now faces a life sentence if he's convicted.
This is probably as close as we've had to just a random incident where an innocent bystander was the victim of a crime.
Between 2021 and now, there have been plenty of chances for someone to get killed. In that time, Deputy Chief Mike Tyler says there's been more than 25 aggravated discharge of a firearm charges. The latest shooting, and the first in 2024, landed a Quincy police officer in the Blessing emergency room. The suspect dead.
I don't like it. I have young kids. We own our house, so if that wasn't the case, we would have moved a long time ago.
In the 3 years prior to 2021, Tyler says there were no shootings or confirmed shots fired calls. 0 between 2017 and 2020. He says it could be because more guns are in the wrong hands.
If all the residential burglaries that we have had, people just start stealing guns. And so they're not law-abiding citizens. These guns are stolen.
But how many guns have been stolen? No one could tell us. Not the Quincy Police Department, not the Adams County Sheriff's Office, not the Adams County State's Attorney's Office, not Illinois State Police, and not the Quincy Adams County 911 call center. What Tyler can tell us is the department not being at full strength in that time forced them to eliminate their street crimes unit. In the last month, though, 3 more officers were sworn in, bringing the department to full strength for the first time since 2020. Chief Adam Yates says a relaunch of the street crimes unit is likely.
One of the obvious focuses would be on gun violence, specifically gun violence involving, juveniles and young adults that's going on in the city of Quincy.
Yates hopes to launch the unit this summer.
Is there a day that goes by that you don't think of her?
No, I think of her every day, all day.
All day, every day. A wreath hangs in the window where Lawton was killed. All day, every day, Stephen wears a necklace with a part of his mother inside.
It's kind of like one of those instances where you see that stuff like in movies and on the news.
You don't ever think it's going to happen to you. Right. And when it does, it changes everything. I couldn't care about being in a relationship or moving on with anybody or even anything that involves that I would have to go tell my mom or want to be happy and, hey, Mom, check this out. You know, blah, blah, blah. Hey, Mom, you're coming to my wedding, right? No, I don't want any of that stuff anymore.
Because it's something you would have told her if she were still alive.
My mom was my best friend. She'd be the first person I told everything to.
She was not the type of person to be out and cause any trouble. Like, for somebody to have killed her violently is the total opposite of how she lived her life every day.
All day, every day, Dana Lawton Marshall is missed, but Stephen says there isn't a word big enough to describe how much. He has a message before something like this or any other shooting happens again.
My mom wouldn't want us angry before anger 24/7, but I think kids need to put down the guns, stop with the gun violence, stop picking them up. It don't make you a man, it don't make you nothing.
And just in the last year, there have been a number of murder charges stemming from gun violence in the area. Of course, the case of Timothy Bleefnick, that also happened almost a year ago. And still going on, the case for Juan Bynum Jr., who is charged with fatally shooting a 22-year-old in Camp Point. Daniel?
All right. Thank you, Dylan. A Chesterfield, Missouri-based attorney is now representing Weems.